So great day, class. How are you? So today we're going to discuss the answers to your quiz. So far we have got 283 responses. So congratulations, guys. And the average score is 79.73, while the median score is 80 over 100 points. And the range of your score, so someone got as low as 25, while we have students who got perfect scores. And for here you go. Okay, so first question. It is the power of the state by which the sovereign, through its lawmaking body, imposes burdens for the purpose of raising revenues to defray the necessary expenses of the government. So we have here the three choices. So the question pertains to the three inherent powers of the states, and we have discussed that, right? We have the power of taxation, the power of police power, and the eminent domain power. So to answer the question, you must know the differences between the three. Okay? So pag sinabi mong eminent domain and someone 0.07% have chosen that answer, pag sinabi mong eminent domain, it pertains to the power of the state to expropriate your private property for public use. So, for example, meron kang property, private property na malapit sa school, sa RTU. And then the government, considering there were numerous enrollees and huge increase in the number of students in RTU, the Pasig government, let's say, um, sees the need to extend the RTU Pasig branch. So they pointed out eventually to your private property, and the government asked you to sell it to them. So in that case, so babayaran ka lang nila. But if you don't know, you don't want to sell your property, actually you can contest that your property that the purchase of your private property is not reasonable, or let's say hindi siya uh, kumbaga yung last resort ng government. You can point out to another property, 'di ba? Probably. So hindi siya yung pinaka last resort ng government para magkaroon ng extension doon. Okay, while police power naman refers to the power of the state to implement laws, 'di ba? And even if for general welfare, okay? And for this, of course, 267 students got it right that the question is referring to the power of taxation. So once you say the power of the state to impose burdens for the purpose of raising revenues, so that pertains to the power of taxation. Okay, let's proceed. Question number two. It is the enforced proportional contributions levied by the lawmaking body of the state for the support of the government and all the public needs. So here we have three options: taxation, taxes, and income. So all of these three terms are within the scope of our subject, income taxation. However, you must be able to identify their definition. Well, taxation is the power, so that is not the correct answer. While income pertains to all wealth which flows into the taxpayer other than the mere return of capital. So the correct answer will be taxes. So this refers to the proportional contributions levied by the lawmaking body of the state for the support of the government and all the public needs. Now, let's go to the next questions, where 214 out of 283 got the correct responses, which is not a source of tax law. So you must be able to understand the question. So I'm asking for an exclusion which is not a source of tax law. So meaning to say, the majority of the options are sources of tax laws. So we have, of course, the 1987 Constitution, and I'm surprised that most 46 or 16.3% answered this as or have chosen this as not a source of tax law, which is wrong. Okay, and of course, the train law. This is a source of tax law. Okay, so I'm not sure why 8.1% of the respondents got it wrong, while the third answer, or well, the third option refers to the decisions of the regional trial court. So why is this not a correct answer? Um, of course, it it is stated in my previous lecture, diba, that the decisions of the Supreme Court forms part of the law of the land. So kapag regional trial court yan, although it is binding, it will not become a law. Okay? It will not form part of the law of the land unless it is elevated. That decision was elevated to the Supreme Court. Okay, which is not a nature of taxation. So we are referring to the nature of taxation. So taxation is an inherent attribute of sovereignty. But this is the nature of taxation. Diba? That because of the state sovereignty, even without passing a law, taxation, it is still the right of the state to impose taxes on people. And the other option, which is not the correct answer, is taxation is inherently legislative. Why? Because the 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 power to impose taxes is vested upon our legislative department. Okay, so this is a correct nature of taxation. Whereas the correct answer in this question, which is asking for an exclusion, which is not a nature of taxation, is this: taxation is an inherent attribute of the Congress. Okay, so why is this not a nature of taxation? Because while the Congress has the power or while the Congress has the power to impose tax, it is not an inherent attribute to them. Okay, for them to do it because there's a law imposing it, right? And I just changed the words from sovereignty to Congress, so you must be able to point it out, right? Next question, which is not a principle of sound tax system? So we have FAT, right? Fiscal adequacy, administrative feasibility, and theoretical justice. Some of you, I was able to trick that ability to pay theory is not one of the principles of sound tax system, because ability to pay theory also refers to the theoretical justice. That's the meaning of theoretical justice. Okay, and I changed the word fiscal adequacy to fiscal calendar. That will make it as the correct answer for this type of question. Because okay, fiscal calendar refers to uh, a system of taxation, but it is um, not a principle of sound tax system. Okay, well, fiscal adequacy refers to that the taxation must be or the funds must be adequate, but in order to help the government in the expenses for the expenditure. Okay, so next question, which is not an inherent limitation of taxation. So I'm asking here the limitation of taxation. Again, we have two limitations in taxation. We have inherent limitation and constitutional limitation. So kapag sinabi mong let me check, where is it? Sorry. Let's go first to this question. Which is wrong? The power of taxation is or blank. Number one option may be delegated to the local government units. And this is a correct statement, thus making it the wrong answer. Okay? The power of taxation may be delegated to the local government unit. That is why our LGUs have the power to collect taxes, okay, in order to defray the expenses of the respective local government. Secondly, um, taxation, the power of taxation is an inherent attribute of its sovereignty. As we have discussed earlier, it is um, one of the nature of taxation. While, okay, taxation is solely vested in the Congress. And this is wrong. Okay? Taxation is not solely vested in the Congress. Why? Because taxation is vested in the people um, through the legislative department. Okay? So as an inherent attribute of its sovereignty, hindi lang siya yung power ng Congress, but it is the people through the legislative department, right? Next, which is not an inherent limitation of taxation. So here we goes to the inherent limitation of of taxation. And we have the mnemonics. What is my mnemonics ito? It is for public purpose, inherent committee, inherently legislative. Okay? So why is number two not the or the correct answer? Why is it not an inherent limitation of taxation? Because I changed the spelling of the committee. So taxation is subject to international committee, not committee. Okay? It means that when you say taxation is subject to international committee, is COMITY, it means that the state may enter into a treaty as long as it is not contrary to their laws, providing for exemptions, exclusions, or any matters in relation to taxation. Okay, so in that case, the residents of that contracting states will enjoy uh, the privileges of exemptions, exclusions in relation to taxation with the contracting states whenever he is there, which is not a theory of taxation. So we have the lifeblood theory, um, symbiotic relationship theory, or the benefit protection theory, right? And the necessity theory. It's not necessary theory. Okay? So pag lifeblood theory, of course, one of the most famous theories in the taxation is the lifeblood theory, that without our the taxes are the lifeblood of the government, and its prompt and certain availability is an imperious need. Okay? And symbiotic relationship theory pertains to um, it's the source of the situs of taxation. Okay, so it pertains to the the theory wherein the taxpayer who is able to pay, who has the ability to pay, must contribute to the um, for the government. Okay, and in return, the government has to protect the taxpayer. Okay, so that's what symbiotic relationship theory means. Okay, next question: double taxation violate what constitutional principle? Okay, so we have constitutional principle under Article 3, Section 1, diba? That we have constitutional limitations or principle of due process and equal protection. Well, first, let's discuss what double taxation is. Double taxation pertains to taxing the same subject twice when it should have been taxed twice by the same taxing authority in the same uh, time and in the same jurisdiction. Okay? So if you violate double taxation or that double taxation will violate the right to equal protection. Kasi if you're going to tax me twice for the same subject matter with the same kind of tax, nature of tax by the same taxing authority at the same calendar taxing year or taxing calendar, then why are you not doing it to others? Okay? So how on the other hand, due process pertains to before you are be you the government can collect tax from you or before they will have the power to impose their right against you, you must be but there must be showing that you have been notified. Okay, that due process was observed. Right. So that the correct answer here is right to equal protection. Next, which among the following theories of taxation is the basis for the situs of income taxation? So I've answered this earlier, diba? That is symbiotic relationship theory. Because situs, so the place of taxation, generally wherever you are, assuming you are a Filipino citizen, diba? Or assuming you are a foreign resident, a foreign uh, alien, diba? You are a foreign individual who are residing here in the Philippines. So if you are earning income here in the Philippines, then you must contribute to this government, right? So because of the protection that being aid to you by this Philippine government, you are obligated to contribute even if you're not a Filipino citizen. So next, this refers to all wealth, gain or weight which flows into the taxpayer other than a mere return of capital. So this type of question measures your familiarity with the definition of the terms. So earlier we have defined taxes, now income. Okay? So kapag it refers to all wealth, whether gain or profit, na magpo-flow sa'yo, napapasok sa'yo, legal, be it come from an illegal or from an illegal or legal activity. Okay, so I'm happy that most of you got the correct answers, which is not a requisite for income to be taxable. So the question pertains to the requisite for income to be taxable. And number one requirement, there must be gain or profit. Okay? Dapat may gain or profit para maging taxable yung income, of course. And the gain must be realized or received. That's also one of the requirement, 'di ba? Either actually received or constructively received. And the third requisite, the gain must not be excluded by law or treaty. So that makes it the correct answer because I interchange it from It should not been excluded. Two, it should be excluded by law. So if it's excluded, then it's no longer taxable. Okay. Next, type of taxable income derived from rendering of service under an employment contract. So this pertains to the type of taxable income. Okay? So kapag you are employed under an employment contract, you are your income, taxable income is called a compensation income. Okay? Another type of income in which taxpayer merely waits for the amount to come, like interest income, royalty income, dividend income, winnings and prizes. So this refers to the passive income. So pag sinabing passive income, hindi ka na magtatrabaho for it or mostly mag-exert ng so much effort in order to gain it. So mag-aantay ka na lang. Okay? Which is the factor in determining the source of income for services. To, nandun yung sa PowerPoint ko, 'di ba? So, ano ba yung mga factor in order for you to determine yung source of income for services for particularly? And it is the correct answer is the place of performance of service. So kung saan perform yung service, um, doon dapat siya magiging taxable. Okay? So next question. This refers to all income derived from whatever source. Of course, that is gross income. Next. These refer to benefits furnished or granted by an employer in cash or in kind, in addition to basic salaries of its employees, either managerial, supervisory, or rank and file employees. Of course, this pertains to the fringe benefit. So I'm asking for the type of benefit, not the tax. Okay? So the second option is already excluded. Okay? And I'm so sad that 37 of you got it wrong. Then what about the minimis benefit? So what is the difference between fringe benefit and the minimis benefit? The minimis benefit is a type of fringe benefit, although it's not taxable. Okay? Whether for fringe benefit tax or for compensation income tax. Right? Because this refers to benefits given in addition to basic salary of relatively small values. So I have enumerated it. Diba? So other than those included in the enumerations given, you cannot call it as a de minimis benefit because that definition is exclusive to those mentioned therein. Next, lapit na tayo. A final withholding tax. So, pag sinabing tax, dapat kind of tax na siya. Imposed on gross up monetary value of fringe benefits which are granted or are paid by an employer to an employer occupying a managerial or supervisory position. Here, the question is asking for a kind of tax. Well, of course, so I have only given one kind of tax here, which is fringe benefit tax. Okay? So wag kayong malilito. And kaya sa final withholding tax, automatic, 'di ba? In a year, i-collect yung gross up monetary value na binigay only to um, managerial and supervisory position, 'di ba? Ang mag-a-apply ang fringe benefit tax. Why? Because if hindi sila supervisor or manager, probably ang mag-a-apply sa kanila is the compensation income. Unless otherwise, exempt sila from payment of tax. Next, separation benefits given to employees who were involuntarily separated from work are subject to fringe benefit tax. What do you think? Do you agree? The correct answer is no, because this is excluded. Okay, yung separation benefits. Kapag if you were involuntary separated, let's say your company closed, okay, and the separation benefits given to you is not considered as is not subject to fringe benefit tax. One of the exclusions yan, nandun sa PowerPoint ko. Next question, and I think, okay, the last question. Benefits given to rank and file are subject to what kind of tax? And the correct answer is, so rank and file yan, ha? So the correct answer is uh, withholding tax on compensation. Okay, so I think that's it. Thank you guys, and kita kits. So stop.